Alright guys, so hopefully you checked your day 4 homework with the key that posted at 3 o'clock, and here is lesson 5, which is solving half-life word problems using logs. So let's jump right into number 1. The half-life of a radioactive substance is 15 years. Remember how half-lives work? Again, every 15 years the amount of substance will be multiplied by a half or decrease by dividing by 2. So write an equation that can be used to model the determinant S of t of 200 grams of a substance that remains after 2 years. So the initial amount is 200, and it multiplies 200 by a half every time you have 15 years. So t over 15, right? When t is 15, 15 over 15 is 1, you'll multiply 200 by a half 1 time. When t is 30, 30 divided by 15 is 2, you multiply 200 by a half 2 times. So there you go. Now, determine algebraically to the nearest tenth how long it will take for 1/10 of the substance to remain. Well, 1/10 of the substance, what is 1/10 of 200? It comes out to 20. So it's saying how long will it take for 20 grams to remain? So 20 equals 200 times 1/2 to the t over 15. Well, anytime we have a variable as an exponent, you want to isolate it and then switch to a log. So let's divide by 200. 20 divided by 200 is 0.1 equals 1/2 to the t over 15. Right? So we have, right now, let's convert it. Well, log base, answer, exponent. So we get log base 1/2 of 0.1 equals t over 15. Well, I want to get t alone. So you can cross multiply, you can multiply this side by 15, it doesn't really matter, I'm going to multiply by 15. So there you go. We get, sorry, let me separate that, 15 times log base 1/2 of 0.1 will equal t, so we get t equals 15 times log base 0.5 of 0.1, 49.82. So it says to the nearest year, 49.82, 50 years. Just double check that number. Yep, 49.82, which is 50 years. Good. All right, number 2. Number 2 is a little trickier, so be careful here. A radioactive substance has a mass of 140 grams at 3 p.m. and 100 grams at 8 p.m. Write an equation in the form A equals A sub 0 times 1/2 to the t over h. And then they tell us what every variable is. This models a situation where h is the constant representing the number of hours in the half-life, right? That's the half-life number. We don't know that yet, though. A sub 0 is the initial mass, which A sub 0, the initial is 140. And A is the mass after t hours. So A is the mass 100 after, well, how long has passed from 3 to 8? 5 hours. So we get 100 equals 140, parentheses 1/2, to the 5 over h. We just don't know what h is. We don't know how long the half-life is. But now we can figure it out. So let's do it. Using this equation, solve for h to the nearest 10,000th. Okay, so we get 100 equals 140 times 1/2 to the 5 over h. I'm going to variable as an exponent, divide by 140. That simplifies to 5/7 equals 1/2 to the 5 over h, right? Variable as an exponent, let's do our log bay. We have base, answer, this whole thing is the exponent, so this becomes log base 1/2 of 5/7 equals 5 over h. Okay, so how do we get rid of this? We can multiply by the reciprocal, 1/5, 1/5. But that really doesn't help us, so maybe I won't do that because now I have h in the denominator. Instead, why don't we just cross multiply, put this whole thing over 1, and then we get h log base 1/2 of 5/7 equals 5. And now divide this side by log 1/2 5/7. Divide this side by log base 1/2 5/7. And we could just enter that right into the calculator, which I'm going to do right now, all in one step. So I'm going to say 5 divided by log base 1/2 of 5/7. And there we go. We get H equals 10.30021. We got tenths, hundredths, thousands, 10,000s, 100,000s. So we get H equals 10.3002. Last step says determine when the mass will be 40. So if we want to know when the mass will be 40, and now we know H, the half-life time, it takes 10.3 years for this substance to decrease by half. So we're going to put 40 equals 140 parentheses 1/2 to the t, we're looking for how long it will take, over 10.3002. Okay, so variable in the exponent, isolate. Right, what does that simplify to? Everything divides through there. You could divide by 20. You get 2/7 equals 1/2 to the t over 10.3002. And I'm just going to move this a little because it's kind of crowded. There you go. Now, variable is an exponent, log base, answer, whole thing is the exponent, becomes, let's move over to here, log base 1/2 of 2/7 equals t over 10.3002. Okay, solve for t. Solve for t. I'm going to multiply this side by 10.3002. I guess over 1, but it doesn't matter. And then whatever I do to one side, do to the other, 10.3002. So we're going to put this in the calculator and find out what we get. 10.3002 times log base 1/2 of 2/7. And we get 18, what does it say around to? The nearest tenth of an hour. T is hours, that's correct, it's not years. 18.61, which means 18.6 hours. It will take 18.6 hours to get down to 40 grams. All right, guys, try out the homework, and good luck. Any questions, please send me an email. Hope you guys are doing well.